High school is a season where a lot of pressure quietly builds. Pressure to figure out who you are, pressure to succeed, pressure to be liked, pressure to look like you have it all together. And a lot of times we deal with that pressure by staying busy, staying distracted, or staying impressive. But underneath all of that is a deeper question. What are you actually looking for? In John chapter 4, Jesus stops at a well in the middle of the day. A woman comes to draw water, and something about the moment is unusual. She's there alone. In that culture, women usually went together when it was nice and cool in the morning. Coming alone at noon likely meant that she was avoiding other people. Maybe her story was complicated. Maybe people talked about her. Maybe she felt like an outcast. Whatever the reason, she shows up carrying a jar for water and probably carrying a lot more with her than that. Then Jesus starts a conversation with her, which also is surprising because culturally, this interaction shouldn't even be happening. They have different backgrounds, different social groups, different expectations. But Jesus doesn't avoid the conversation because of these social norms. No, he moves into it. And then he says something that shifts the entire moment. He says, "Everyone who drinks this water will be thirsty again. But whoever drinks the water I give them will never thirst." At first, she thinks that Jesus is talking about actual water. But he's talking about the deeper things that people chase to feel whole. Because every person is thirsty for something. Some people chase achievement. Some chase relationships. Some chase attention or approval. Some chase control. And some just try to escape through distractions. But eventually something becomes clear. No matter how much of those things you get, the feeling doesn't fully stay. The grade doesn't permanently remove the pressure. The relationship doesn't permanently fix the loneliness. The recognition doesn't permanently settle your insecurities. The thirst always comes back. And not because those things are evil, but because they were never meant to be the things that fill us. That's what Jesus is pointing to. He eventually brings up parts of this woman's past, her relationships. Not to embarrass her or shame her, but to reveal something important. He already sees her whole story. The mistakes, the choices, the pain, the complicated parts, and he's still sitting there with her. That moment shows us something powerful about Jesus. He doesn't just wait for people to clean up their lives before meeting them. He meets them right in the middle of that story. And that's where he offers what he calls living water. Not temporary relief, not a quick fix, not a quick distraction, but something deeper that begins to change a person from the inside. Living water is about identity that isn't based on performance, peace that isn't based on circumstance, worth that isn't decided by other people. It's the kind of life that comes from knowing you are fully known by God and still loved. At the end of the story, the woman leaves her water jar behind. The thing that she originally came for no longer feels like it's as important as it was when she first got there. Why? Because when someone finally experiences real depth, the things that once felt essential start to lose their grip. That's the invitation here. Not to try harder, not to perform better, but to pause long enough to ask an honest question. What am I actually thirsty for? Because once you recognize that thirst, you're in the exact place where Jesus begins to meet people. And when that happens, the hype stops being enough because you discover the truth about depth. Have a beautiful week, everybody.